I can send the video. Okay, so we can start now. So the questions are, are divided into different parts. And so we're going to look at the part A of this, which is demonstrating how to use the SQL Studio and how to use the script to do the same thing. So I said demonstrate using the SSMS. So anytime you hear SSMS, simply means is a SQL Management Studio. Okay. So, and we want to use it to do everything and then use it to do exactly what is here. So I said full backup, restoring database, detaching database, attach database, and also demonstrating shrinking database. So you don't need to script that. We are just going to use SSMS. So I'm going to do it in two ways. Number one, I'm going to do backup of database using this admin tool rather than scripting it. So sometimes you can find yourself to be kind of a BA, maybe a business analyst or someone that is working. You are not really an SQL developer. So you just want to know how to do some basic things in SQL. So these are the things you need to know. All right. So if you want to back up a database, suppose you want to back up a database, as the question says, Adventure Works 2014, the first things you need to do is to go to databases here, open it, expand it, and then you will see the one I'm talking about here. Is it here? Oh, it's not here. Let me bring it back. Sorry, that one is not nice. I can use anyone here, but I want to, because I have been solving the questions as well, giving solutions to it as well. So that's why it's not there. So I'm going to bring it back. Let me restore it back. Sorry. You are still going to learn this as well, restore database, but I just want to restore it quickly for us. So we don't need to worry about that one. So I'm going to restore this one now. All right. So we are still going to do the same thing anyway. This same thing, how to do that, but I'm just doing that. We have not gotten there. We want to do backup first. So if you remember that we did this initially in the beginning of our lecture, that's the first thing we did in our lecture. So okay. So I'll give you an example. Recently, I was working with a BA for one company, and then the BA, what they want to do is they want to migrate their data. So what we did was to write an SQL script, kind of a large SQL script, but they need to work with the SQL script. But as a BA, he needs to at least know how to, administer and manage the database as well. So you can be a BA, at least understand the basic of SQL. They might be using Oracle, they might be using SQL. I think in this case they were using Oracle as well. So so it depends.
Hello, Michael.
Yeah, hello. You want to ask a question? Yeah.
Hello. Yes. Is it possible? Can we ask questions as we go, or we leave it till the end?
Yes, you can ask questions. Yes, why not? Yes, you can ask questions.
Yeah, I was going to ask like if you are talking about backing up a database, right?
Yes.
So, for example, you have a database, say a particular database, and you back it up. Okay, I want to know the reason why you back the database up, one.
Okay.
And I want to know, when you have backed the database up, does it communicate with the other database when other information is added onto it? Do they collect new information as the default database, or you just
no?
How does it work?
Okay, I will tell you how it works now. There's what we call backup. The reason why you do backup database is sometimes probably I want to work on something new. So let me give you an example, a live example. They said I should do something. Probably you want to do something in a large company, you always have what we call production database. Production database is what is live, what people are using daily, for operation. But there's what we call test environment or pre-production environment. So now, if you have pre-production environment or test environment, if you have you first work on that one. That one serves as where you start working first. And when you want to work on certain things there, you first backup. The purpose of backup is if anything wrong, probably you write a program wrongly. you can always go back to that backup and restore it again. So in other words, if you have made changes, it's not going to reflect on the one you have backup already, okay? Because you just back it up. So the purpose of backup is for let me say, is for redundancy reason, is to make sure that you have something to cover up if anything go wrongs in the future. So you want to, that's the purpose of backup. The name is simply means backup. I back up something in case something. Now you are talking about another thing you can do is, for me, based on what I've worked on before, another thing is what you are talking about. If someone make a changes, there's something that we call scheduling backup. So when you schedule backup, means that this one we are still doing it manually. Sometimes you can do what we call, you do a task scheduler where you write a script to automate every day, to back up. That means that any changes they are making is backing it up, But it now depends. You might say keep 20 days worth of data, that if they are making changes, back it up. If they are making changes, back it up. Do you understand? So you can do that one as well. So, but it depends on how large, resources you have. If you have large space in your PC, you can do that as well. So that's what I would say. But the purpose of backup is to, if for example, now you don't normally back up on your machine alone. You can even back up on another PC, because if that PC breaks down, probably you can go back to another machine and restore it back. So that's the purpose of backup. All right.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay, no problem. So we're going to do backup now. I said full backup. So if you want to do full backup, the first thing is this. You go to the database, look for the database we're talking about. You could see so many databases here. You cannot just say you want to click this and say you want to do backup. You have to go to the one you want to back up itself. So we want to back up this. You select it. You right click it. Every SQL server have all these things called task. Since 2005, I've been using, the SQL 2005, SQL 2008, everything. It has never changed. So if they come out with another version, this is 2014, 2017 is still going to be the same thing. You will see task. You right click, you see task. Then you click backup. Did you see it now? So now, I will explain this part to you. Now, did you see this adventure works? Because you selected it and say you want to what? You want to back up. You can still change your mind and say, no, I want to back up example lesson. So you can still change your mind, okay? But the best thing is that you just know what you want to back up. You want to back up this. Now, there's what we call full and differential. Now, in the question I ask, what is the difference between full or differential backup? The difference is that when you back up now, I have backed up. But when you say differential backup, means that the backup is going to, when you now do another backup, it's not going to back up everything again. It's going to back up only the small changes you have made in the database. It's going to back it up again with the full backup. So it's not going to be doing full. But I always recommend people to go for full backup every time. Okay. So it's always good to go for full backup. Don't go for differential backup. Okay. So select Adventure Works full. Then always go to this place called backup options. Okay. Now, these backup options, if you go here, you will select this one. Use the default server settings. Sometimes you can select compress backup. Do not compress backup, or compress, or default server settings. Do you understand what they mean by use default server settings? Now, I will tell you what it means now. I will show you something and then you'll be able to understand later on. So I will write it down and I will let you understand, okay? Use the default. You don't need all this if you really want to back up the database. But if you are someone that is a database developer, you have to know this very well. Like, oh, should I compress it? Probably you can compress it, but it depends on what you want. But it's always good to do compress anyway, because you are saving space anyway. If you are trying to keep 20 days worth of data every time, you want to do this scheduler, and so on and so forth. That means it's good to do compressed backup. So let's stick to this one. Use the default server settings. After that, you can give it any name here. You can change the name here. I can call it any name. For now, just leave it as it is. You can call it any name you want. In this place, you can choose media options. Do you want to override existing backup sets? If I do this, that means that if I have backup something before, it's going to override everything completely. Now, if I said append, which I have explained to us before, append simply means that if I have a previous backup before, it's going to keep that one. It's going to append another type to the existing backup set. So in other words, you have two previous backup sets that of different dates. Okay, so you can choose anyone. So for me, I always go for override every time anyway, but you can choose this one if you. So that means that you have to know what dates you have backup. You want to choose the date you want to choose, and so on and so forth. But I always go for this one, override all existing backup sets. Then you click OK. Now, this, if you look at this place, this is where normally Microsoft SQL by default store your database. You could see it here now, 2905 and so on. You can remove it and say, I want to let it to put the database somewhere else. Now, if I go scroll here, I can say, no, I don't want it here. I want it somewhere else. I can browse away and say, okay, I don't want the backup here. I want the backup in my, let's choose where should we, but it's always good to make your backup to be in the same place, honestly, because it is good for you, unless you are yet advanced in SQL, okay? So I will always advise to make sure that your backup is always in the default place for now, okay? So that you don't, stress yourself too much, but you can always change it. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? So I would say you should keep it here now. So I'll call it the name here. You can give it another name here if you want to give it a name. So I'll call it our project. Now look at this. It has already given it a name, .back. So it means that anything that is called back, BAK is the backup file. Okay. So if I go here now, that means I have it as .back. I can call it back here. I think I made a mistake here. So okay. So if I go here now, if I finish the backup, it's going to name it our project. You could see it here, 20%, 50% here where the screen is until it's finished. So it has finished successfully. So what I will do now is that I'm going to check if the backup is there. So I'll go to my computer and then I will check if the backup is here. Now I'll go to the same place, see program files, Microsoft SQL, and then I'll go to Microsoft SQL Server. There are lots of here. MySQL. You don't need to worry about all this. So this is it now. So this is the backup now. It has been stored here. So that is the solution for that because we are demonstrating it. Do we understand or you want me to go over again?
Yes, sounds clear to
me.
Me.
Okay. Now, if we want to script it, you can script it. Okay. Now, why is scripting important? You find out that sometimes it might come like easily. It's easy to do the scripting as well. You right click it as well, the same database, say new query. New query. So do you see what happened there now? I right click it. You have to right click it and say new query. Do you get it now? So that is it now. That means what you are trying to do here is that you are saying any query I'm writing, it is only speaking to Adventure Works 2014. Do you get what I'm trying to do now? So that is why you have to right click it. You cannot just say you want to right click the database and query it. It will not understand. So you have to right click whatsoever databases you want to query, because we want to back up. We want to use scripts to back up now. I use this one, okay? Now, before you start, now you will say backup database. That's the way to write it. Backup database. Am I spelling it correctly? Now, let me tell you something. Don't try to say you know everything. Just go to documentation and know how to write it. The main thing is to know how to do the concept. Don't try to memorize everything, okay? Until you now start getting used to the system of your database or the business logic of your company. That's when you now start writing everything fast. Don't think like, oh, this thing is in my head. It's not in my head, okay? It's just the documentation. I've already put it down, just to memorize and just to read about the documentation and know, oh, this is how you should start writing it, okay? So backup database, and then you call the name Adventure Works. It can be anything. It is not case sensitive, so I can write it capital letter, small letter, it doesn't matter. Backup database to disk. So don't mind me, even though it's not in capital letter, it's still the same thing, okay? But I would rather want it in capital letter anyway, for me to see. To disk, okay, equal to, now, I want the database to be in another place. To disk simply means I want you to back up the database Adventure Works 2014 to disk, to any part in your system. The disk here is your drive, okay? So I can say C drive. So if you want to give a part name, you have to quote it. And when you are quoting in SQL, you don't use double quote, you use single quote, okay? Single quote. So anything that you want to give as a part file name or a test name or string or characters, you use single quotes. So I'll say C temp, okay, temp, my backup dot BAK. Now you could see that it's similar, isn't it? I gave it a name here, all right? But the name I gave it here is that I want to save it into ctemp my backup dot BAK. So the file name, the backup name will be what? My back. Did you see it now? So, and I've now said, that is it. I think that's all. So that is all, nothing more, okay? So if you want to finish everything with your database, you can put semicolon, means the end of this code, the end of this part. It's always good to do that. So it means semicolon simply means is the end of coding. So if I want to run it, I'll just say execute. Did you see now? I click execute here. It's now saying executing the query. You will see now that, you see now everything is done now. So if I go now to my C drive, C temp. So if I go to C, trying to look for my C drive. C temp. Do you see it now? 1505-2019, my backup. So that is the file name here. So I've already what? Used script to back it up. Do you have any question on that as well? So that's how to back it up with script. Don't try to memorize, just understand the concept. So you can go to W3 School and say, oh, how do you back up database? Or read, everything is online now. Don't try to, even the most genius, sometimes they have to go through documentation. Okay, I did electronics engineering as well. Like if we are building like chips then in electronics as well, you have to look at all the, how do we call it again? Who can remember? If you're an engineer, you have to look at all the shit as well and everything. Now, where you are going to apply the resistor, the current and everything. So the same thing with scripting as well. So that's it. Backup database, Adventure Works 2014. to disk. So that's how to back up. Can we move on to the next question? Now, Adeleke has asked this question. He said, why is it good to have a copy of that backup in another PC? As I said, sometimes you might want a quick turnaround. If the PC breaks down or the server breaks down, you can always shift to the, you can quickly, bring another PC and then restore the database, that you have already stored in another PC. So it's always wise when you are working in an organization to have your backup somewhere else. Some people put it in cloud, some people have, another PC, another server working in the background in case anything goes wrong. So it's one of those things you have to put into place as well. All right. So any question on that? Do we all understand about this backup now? No question. Okay, I can move on then. So let's go to restoring database. Now, we have done backup. Now, let's do restore. The same method. You right click on it. Because in this question, we're saying that we have to demonstrate using the SSMS, which is the SQL Server Studio. And also, we have to use script. So we do this. We want to restore. I will say restore database. I have right click Adventure Works 2014. I said I want to what? Restore. So now I said I want to restore the database. Now, it is very important. Now, I know what I want to restore. I know I want to restore onto this database. I know this is the destination. This is Adventure Works. Did you see it now? Adventure Works. Now, who can tell me what is going on here? Do you see what is going on here now? Now, if I check here now, yeah, if I scroll up here, it's saying to me here that this is my database I want to restore. The last backup is this. Sometimes, let me give you a scenario. Sometimes you might have your database. Probably someone sent you, remember I sent you a backup file then. You save it into your C drive or you save it to your document file. Now, sometimes you might not have saved the backup the database on your machine. It might be someone that sent you a backup file before. If you are in that situation, you don't, because now the computer automatically knows that I have already backed up this Adventure Works before. So I can restore it easily, say 15.9, this is the backup. Now, I can do that now and say options, override now. It will work, okay? But I want to teach you another thing. The best one is that, remember that we did the second one, which is the one we use with script. We use script and we put it in C temp rather than putting it in the default. Yes, perfect. So I will select device and then look for it. This is what is common. This is what you are going to be coming across most of the time. All right. So I will now look for it. Where did I put the backup? I'm not looking for this one. This one is the default one. Don't worry about that. I want to go for the one that I put in C. So you can scroll for it and say C. There's nothing wrong with using this one here, but it depends on the scenario. So if I send, Austin, I'm sending you a backup file. I want you to test it on your machine. Please, can you restore it? You have already taken it. You downloaded it through Dropbox and you save it in your document. And then you have to browse for it, isn't it? And restore it on your machine. So that's why you select that device. So I will say C. And I will select temp. Where is temp? Okay. So this is temp. And I will select this. Did you see this now?
Yeah.
My backup.bak. And I'll click OK. And I'll click OK. All right. So that is it now. Do you see now? See this one and this one. Now, if I click option, I can say overwrite the existing this thing. And you can click OK. Don't click this. It is when it's very tricky unless you are the main. Don't just leave it the way it is. Because sometimes some database might be in use, and then if you click it, it's going to close the database, and then if someone is working on it, so it depends on how many people are managing the database. Some people have multiple connection to database and so on and so forth. So I'll click OK. Okay. So I've started restoring it. So it's trying to restore now. So let's see what it's going to come up with. Perfect. This is what I even like. It says something because the database is in use. So how am I going to stop this? Because the database is in use. You know, I told you, you can do this now because the database is in use. Why was it in use? Who can give me a scenario why it's in use? So let's cancel it now. Why is it in use?
I think because you did the second option and you stored it. Is that not why?
No. Okay, let's go back to it. Let's go back to it. Let's go back. That's where we have to solve problems as well. We encounter this. So I normally encounter this. So sometimes the management studio will say that now I've already closed because I allow this execute to show now. So let me refresh everything. All right. I will now go back and say I want to restore it now. I will close this because I was querying it. I don't need it again. No. So I'm trying to restore it now. Let's see. Task. Restore.
Don't worry. Because it was overwriting?
Yeah, it can be also, but if you want to overwrite, maybe the other one was in use. So it says it's already in use. Yeah, it can be that as well. Yes, you're right. Because you want to overwrite. That's the reason as well. You want to overwrite. So because you want to overwrite something that is in use, it will not allow you to do it because, you know, I think in Microsoft Word as well, sometimes if you open Microsoft Word and then you want to rename the file, you say, oh, the file is in use. You cannot rename the file.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So if you go here now, let's do the same thing. All right. Let's go to device. And then I'll go to temp. Then select this. Let's go. So have we selected override? Good. Let's see. So it's now working. So suppose it's still doing the same thing because what happened there was we just saved we just do the backup with a script. So what happened is that I immediately go to restore. I didn't even refresh anything. So it's thinking, oh, the file is still in use. Do you get what I'm trying to say now? But now, what happened if something like that happened? Refresh this thing. There's a way to do that. I will teach you. You right click on the database and click refresh, and then it will refresh everything, and everything will be okay again, and so on and so forth. So it's something that comes handy as well. If you have a problem, Google it. You understand what I'm trying to say, and so on and so forth. Sometimes it might not even be refreshed. It might be another person's using database. What you do is that you see this checkbox. Close existing connection to destination database. In other words, there's any existing connection, someone is connecting to it and it's very urgent. You just say no one should interrupt it. You just close any existing connection to it, and so on and so forth. If you have the permission to do that. So it's still restoring, and then when you finish, that is it for restoration.
Michael, I got a question for you.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry. I was going to ask, you know, like if you back up a file, if you back up a database, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking it creates another copy of that database somewhere on your system, isn't it? Is that not what backup means?
Yeah, it creates a copy. That is, if something is wrong, if the live one is corrupt, you can always go back. So that's where we went. We browse to now in device, yeah, and so on.
Okay, so it creates another copy while the other one still exists, isn't it? So
no, the other one exists.
Yeah, the other one exists, and you've created another copy, which is backup.
Yeah,
just in case, isn't it?
Yeah, so we are doing this in case something's wrong with your database.
With your database.
That's why we are restoring it. Yeah.
Why are we now restoring it? That's the problem. That's what I'm looking at.
We are assuming that the database is corrupt.
So does it now duplicate or
no
automatically? You know.
Hello, Michael. Can I assist?
Yes.
Yeah. Go on, Olise.
Okay. Like, your Windows, for example, I'm giving you an example. Your Windows, you usually do, I don't know if you set your Windows like that, your laptop or desktop, usually do Windows updates.
Yeah.
Windows backup on your system.
Okay.
Let's say you try putting up your system and you have some issues or some blue screen shows on your system.
Yeah.
And you go back to your system, go to your updates, your backup, and restore last known good configuration.
Yeah.
You go back to the setting that was open and restore it back. That's what Mike is trying to explain to you. We're just assuming that the database have issues. Let's say maybe you did backup on Monday and you came to work on Wednesday, trying to do something, and you see there's some issues in your database. So you're now restoring back your database back to the last backup you did before it happened.
Oh, okay.
Not duplicating anything, just going back to what it was before then, before the issue.
I think I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah,
that is a better explanation. Thank you, Olise. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay. So let's continue. Now we're going to use scripts. Now, the reason why we're doing this one by one is for us to go back to it. I have the solution here, so I'm still going to post the solution to us. So we're going to restore again using scripts. In this case, we're going to use script to do that. So I'll right click. I'll say new query. Okay. Now, if I right click new query, now I'll start writing it now, restoring database. Remember the last time we say backup database. So what do you think we're going to write now again? If I say backup database, AdventureWorks 2014, the restore will be also what? Restore database. Restore database. Then we'll put AdventureWorks there. Works 2014. And then I will now say from disk. The other one was what?
C.
To disk. So this one is from disk. Equal to, so now, because we are now restoring it from, this is the one this is the target now, AdventureWorks 2014, from disk. So we'll go back to the same place. We say C. I told us we don't use double quotes, isn't it? We use single quotes in SQL. Okay. And then we use semicolon to end everything. That this part of the code is done. Okay. So can we now do it now? Can we execute it? Do we understand what I wrote now? Restore database. The other one was backup database AdventureWorks to disk, because we are taking it to, but this one is from disk because we are restoring it from disk. Okay. So I'm restoring this, and then to this, I'll just say execute.
Hello?
Yes, continue.
I think there will be an error on it because you're restoring from disk, okay, to the temp backup file. It's supposed to be to that because this temp backup file is where you back up to. So if you're restoring, you restore from your backup to your disk.
No, it doesn't matter. So now, I will tell you what happened here now. You have to understand that we did two different things. We back up to the default backup place, okay? And
because this file extension you write here now, this ctemp.
I didn't put something here.
Backup is the backup folder now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a backup, but we are now remember
so
we are restoring.
So you're restoring from.
Yeah, we are restoring from. So we are restoring. We are
from this to this destination. Sorry, I'm just asking. Where's the destination of where?
Oh, I see what you mean. Remember that the first one we are saying, the first one when we say backup to, that means that you are taking the copy of that backup to this place. Now you are saying from, you are not taking the same backup back to this AdventureWorks on the top.
That's what I'm saying. So your destination now is the name of the database is AdventureWorks.
Yeah, so you don't need to write paths because
from what your query, your syntax is saying is from the disk to this. So this is the source file. Then this C temp and
the destination.
My backup is the destination, which was where we did the backup initially, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where you are now taking. Yes, you are right. That's where we did the backup. So you are now taking it now, saying, I want to restore it to the Adventure Works. Do you get it now?
What Olisa is saying, Michael, is, for example, you create a folder on your desktop and you call that folder Michael, for example, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And then you back up a file onto that folder that says Michael.
Yeah.
So if you want to restore that file, you restore it from Michael
to the destination.
Yeah, that's it.
So it should be the other way around from what Olisa is saying. So we are not picking it from disk again. We are picking it from the backup file that you already created.
Yeah, that is the backup. This is the command you have to use. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah, but this command is telling us to go and is picking it from the disk. And I take it.
Now, I think you have to understand the concept now. I think people are missing it now. Okay, now, what is happening now is, look at this place. When we restore it, we say task.
Yeah.
We say restore database. Then we select device, and we browse for it, isn't it? That is our from. Okay, because we have already backed it up before. Remember, it's like you save a copy of you are writing a project in Microsoft document. You save a copy into maybe C temp. All right. Now, what happened is that you don't even know you don't know what happened to the other file. It seems that something's wrong with the one you were using. You now want to restore it. You now copy what is in, the document you have put in one folder. You want to copy it back. Okay. So that is the exact situation we are now. Okay. So this one is the destination, Adventure Works. Because the name of your database from disk means that I am taking my restoration from the place I've already done the backup, because this is the copy of the backup of this Adventure Works. Okay. So now if I run it now, do you see why it says that? Because I didn't say with replace. So if I say with replace, means that it's going to override it. What is it saying? Cannot Adventure, because it's in used by this section. What section? Hold on. My backup.pk C temp from disk restore database. Adventure Works 2014. Yeah, continue. Do you want to say something?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say the C temp and backup file.
Yeah.
Is that also stored in the disk? Do you get what I'm saying?
No, C temp is a folder already in my system.
It's a folder.
Yes.
What's the relationship between that C temp and the disk?
Oh, disk is just a command, is an internal command from SQL. So it has nothing to do.
So the disk has nothing to do with your system. It's just a command.
It's a command from disk. You will see it in blue here that they are command from SQL. Anything blue.
So what we are thinking is, because it says from disk, we are thinking is from a disk file from the main.
No.
Hello, Adeleke, I think I understand the syntax now. What you're saying is from disk. That is telling you from disk. This C temp, my back, can't read C temp, my backup. I can't see what is there. Is the source file.
Is the location.
The location
of the file where you are retrieving the file from.
Yes, that's what it is.
It's a location.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, this is where we are going now. We are going to do something which is very important. When you are trying to do this, it's saying you have to use master. I'm not sure if any one of you have come across use master before. Now I will tell you what it means. Now, use master is one of those things. Let me put it in the solution because it's very important. I will tell you why it's useful. Okay, use master. Now, it's now working. I will tell you why it is important. Use master simply means that you are telling your database to use, because you are restoring the database, you are using script. So the computer didn't know where you are trying to restore it. So it's good to start with use master, or I can say use adventure works. Use master simply means the SQL machine, the engine, is going to detect automatically what you're trying to do. So that's why I say use master. Use master is a default word used to let SQL machine to be able to do something for you easily. So that's why he's saying, oh, it's in use in another section. But really, if you use master, so most of the times we use, because we are still going to cover it in some of my questions. That's what are the 3 ways to query. So I asked the question, but it's after this section. So you use master, even though this will still work, but if you're saying you have to use master, just follow it, use master. So I'll put it as part of solution here, use master. I don't know why it's doing that. You didn't do that the last time I give the solution. So it's executing it now, but do you understand what it means now? Restore database. I mean, restore database. This is the database we want to restore to. But we have, for example, if I have already put a backup of another database, probably, did you see this example lesson? Suppose I have example lesson as my database. I've already done it and I try to do that. It might not work because they don't have the same logic. So it will throw in an error. So because we know that our backup here, Adventure Works, was stored here, that's why I said, okay, I'm going to restore it from this same location. ctemp is a folder. My backup.back is a file, the backup file, okay? So I hope we get that now, yeah? Okay, let's continue. Any question? You can always go back to the video and read it, but I think, but if you can use admin tool, but the script is also to help us to just get used to SQL language and so on and so forth. But I think it's straightforward. You will get used to it and so on. It's straightforward. It's not that hard. Then we're going to do detach database. To detach is easy. What you need to do with detach is this: right click, task, as I said, detach. Detach doesn't mean that you delete the database. Detach simply means that you don't want to be seeing the database again in your system. Okay, so I can detach it now. Should I? Just click detach. It will ask you a question. And then you say, okay. I say no. Why? It's still going to be in use because we are using it at the moment. That's why it's doing that. Oh, it's being used for replication. Ah. Cannot drop the database. It's being used for replication. I didn't use it for replication. Drop, update. Let me see. So sometimes it's saying that that's one of the things you are going to face when you are doing things. Don't worry about that one. I don't know why it's dropping it, but I know single user. Ooh, finish it, close it. No. Task. Don't worry about that one. Okay. It's used for replication. I didn't even have replication on my machine. Okay. Replication. Hold on. Let me see if I have local replication. I don't have. I have replication. No wonder. So I will delete this replication. I thought I've deleted everything. Sorry, I have a replication there that's supposed to delete because it's part of the lesson we did and it's going to be part of what we're going to do about replication. I thought I've deleted everything for this lecture, so I'm going to delete it myself. So that's the beauty of SQL. It's going to tell you where your problem is and so on and so forth. So I'm trying to delete it. It's saying that because I've used it for replication, I cannot just say I want to, drop the database. It's still in operation. So suppose I have something that, maybe someone has set up a replication on my machine and I didn't know. So, and I want to drop the database, it will let me know that as someone is really using it, don't try to delete it and so on and so forth. So if I refresh, this is how to refresh your data, refresh everything. Sometimes if you work on a database, you have to refresh sometimes to see what is being done. So I'll just detach now. Hopefully it will work now. I don't know why it's doing that. Big trouble. We really need this now. Why is it doing this? Works for me this weekend. Okay, I will solve it myself. It's one of those things I don't like. Okay, task. I want to see the problem again myself. It's being used for replication. Don't worry. Now, don't worry. This one is for me. It's an advanced level, but let me see how you're going to be using it as well, so that it's going to help you to see what I'll do. I can't remember the code, so I want to do it now in your front to see how to solve something like this. Probably it's good for you. So it's not every problem you can solve yourself. Sometimes you have to just read the documentation. Script delete. I'll just say script delete. I think I have it then, but I don't know where I put it. Hold on. I really did it then. MC, was it desktop balance type live? Collections. I think it's in collections. So I'll just script to delete replication. Now, I know how to write SQL, isn't it? So if you know a script to remove, you see it's different people that are already having the same problem as well. You see? So let's see. I'll just write this. Probably it's going to remove everything fully on my PC. So people get stuck as well. So I can be one of those people as well. You understand? So I'll just right click on database and say new query. I'll just say use master. I'll say remove replication. What's my DB? The name of my DB, Adventure Works 2014. I can easily know that, okay, this is my Adventure Works 2014. If it doesn't work, I'll try another one. It should work now. It says it doesn't recognize this. Imagine. So I'll look for another one. No. So which one? I think this one is better. I think this one. Or probably it's not the latest version. Script replication. If not, we'll jump to another lecture. I'm just trying to see which one. It's still the same thing. Or probably. Oh, I didn't use exec. That's why. Exec. Execute. Simply means you have to use execute. Don't worry about that. Don't worry. It's already open. I can only have one user at a time. So it's already done now. So I can now drop it now. Sorry about that, guys. Don't worry, you don't need to know about that one. But later on, when you get used to things like this, so I'll just detach it now. It won't say, oh, it's used for replication now. But so now we've detached it manually. You right-click it, and then you just say detach. That's all. Task detach. So you can use script to do that as well.
So Michael, does that mean it doesn't mean delete to delete the database?
No, it doesn't. So I told you it's still there. So that's why I'm going to demonstrate how to attach it now.
Okay.
So I will attach it now. So I will show you how to attach database. Now, for you to attach database, because you detach it, if you are attaching, it's different from restoring. Remember that when you try to attach database, it is called BAK, and when you try to restore database, it's called BAK. For attachment, it is the main file itself. So it is called MDF. What did I call it? MDF. It is called master data file. Okay. So if I want to attach it, what I will do is that I'll go back here. I will say attach. I want to go back to the file I've done. Now I want to attach it. I'll right click database here. add, and I'll look for it. This is it here. Now, anytime you do this MDF, even though you did not see LDF here, but it automatically comes with LDF, so you don't need to know about that, but I'll just click OK here now. You see now, log and data. The main one is the data file, which is the largest one. The log file is, what we call log. Sometimes you are doing something. If for example, now you visited a website always have a log, okay? And if, for example, I build a website, if you enter into my website, I can write a script and say someone log into my website at so time, and I'll be recording it as well. I might not know everything you are doing, but you just say, oh, someone has entered into this website, and so on and so forth. The same thing with log. Anytime you have database, any changes in your database, it will be writing it in a log. That's what we call LDF file. Okay. So I will now click OK here. Now I'm attaching back the database I've detached now. So it's here now, Adventure Works. So if I refresh it, it's going to rearrange it. So this is Adventure Works now. It has been attached back. Okay. Now we're going to use script to do the same thing. If you want to use script to do the same thing, the script is available. Do you want me to write it, or you will see it in solution I will post later so that we can move on? If you want me, I can write it, but it's quite easy. So you can both use the SQL Studio to do that, or you can use your script to do that. Is that okay? So if you want to, I'll just copy it here and then let you see. Because I've already done the solution already. I'm just trying to write it for you to see. Now, it's a little bit complicated, but don't try to memorize. As I said, you can always go to this and so on and so forth. So it means use master. As I said, anything like this, you have to say use master, go, or you can even remove go. It doesn't matter. Exec master. So .dbo, .sp detach, db. I'm detaching db, but this is the command that is important for detachment. Equal to, this is how you are going to write it. Don't memorize it. You can always go back and check how to do that. Don't try to do that. Okay. Now, did I mention about comments to you? Who understand comments in coding, in anything you are doing? Do you understand comments? If they are saying,
when you put 2 slashes to end it, to start and to end, to start the statement.
Okay, what is the purpose?
It's just to let you know what is going on in that string, and it doesn't have any effect on the code itself.
Yes, exactly. That means that if the program is executing it, you're right. So it's not going to it's not going to do anything. So I don't want to do this. This is the most important thing. Here, what is it saying here? Oh, I shouldn't put comma there because I have something there. So if I do this, should work, because I don't want to keep any index file. It's still going to work, but do you understand what I'm trying to say? But I put comment here saying ignore this part. Mm-hmm. But if the purpose of this is that I want index file for everything. So you can put that there, but just to demonstrate that it doesn't matter. This is the line you need to detach. Okay. So I'll put comma back here. Okay. All right. Sorry, comma. Now it's all done now. So it has been detached. Do you see it detached here now? No. What should I do? It has said command executed successfully. What should I do? I don't want to say it. If we have been following.
You mean for us to detach it?
Refresh, good. Oh, yeah. So we'll refresh it now. So it's not there again. So that's it, right? No matter where you go to, no matter how advanced, these are the things you always do. You always refresh because it's still going to be there. You refresh. That's how they, it doesn't change anything. There's no magic there. For attachments, it's very long. And we have to take ourselves to understand it. Even though I said this one is one line, don't memorize it. I said you can remove this comma and everything and so on and so forth. Now, it's for you to understand that there are 2 ways to do things in SQL Studio. Now, attachments, I too have to make research on this to put this here, okay? Now, I want to attach it. Now, I did something very interesting here. Look at this thing very well. It might not work on your PC. It depends on who you are, but I'll give it to you for a reason. Now, did you see MDF here? Did you see LDF here? Don't worry, I don't want to explain too much here. It's too much for you now. Don't worry. But do you see MDF here, LDF? It's the same thing we did here. We attach MDF, file name, and so on and so forth. Now, in this case, I said I want to, I have a file, okay? The file, someone gave me MDF instead of giving me a backup file. Normally, if someone said you should send, as I told us in the beginning of our lesson, if someone gave you a file and say, please, I want you to do something, they should always send you a backup file. But some people, they don't know, they just send you MDF file. They said they don't know how to back up or something like that. So, but you want to view the file, you want to do something, you can always attach it. But if you want to use script, you have to look for where the MDF is and the LDF is. So because of this lesson purpose, I store the MDF in C data. So if you go to my C data here, you will see MDF because I've prepared for this lesson lecture. So I already stored it here as if someone said I should look at what's here. So I put the, where did I put it? I didn't even put it here. I know why. Wait. So I don't have it here. What I will do is that I will go to where my MDF is. If you want to know where your MDF is, you go here. I'll click this one. You go to data. This is it now. So I'll collect this one. I'll copy this two. It's my MDF and LDF. MDF is always called underscore that data, and then the log one is underscore log. So I'll go here. Don't worry, I just want to show an example. What's happening? It's for reference purpose. So don't worry about this one. It's just about, you can always come here and attach it as well. It doesn't matter as long as you have the MDF and the LDF as well. But as I said, it's always good to, anytime you want to do, always do backup and restore. Don't try to go for MDF. It's sometimes very complicated. And before you can get MDF, sometimes it's not easy. So in a scenario like that, I've already put it here. I've said, okay, create database, call it AdventureWorks. I don't want you to call it AdventureWorks 2014. I want you to create another database called AdventureWorks. And I want to attach it based on this. Okay? Okay? So the idea of, even though it's AdventureWorks 2014, but I want to give it another name. I call it AdventureWorks. I can call it any name here. Then I'll say for attach. So this thing, now, if you look at all this syntax, they call it syntax. The syntax is what you just go for Microsoft website. They will tell you the syntax because they are the one that wrote the SQL. So they will always give the syntax on how to use their product. Every software company, they will always give you syntax on how their things work. You are not just going to wake up one day and try to figure things out. Everything has a syntax, okay? So for attach, go, if exist, blah, 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 blah. But I don't want to say much. You can go and then do it and so on and so forth. If I run it, it's going to work, but it's going to come with AdventureWorks rather than this one, okay? It's not there, I'll refresh it. In this case, it's called AdventureWorks, okay? No longer AdventureWorks 2014, all right? I will send the solution to us, but ignore this part. You don't need to know attached script. It's very complex for now. So I'll just leave it for now because there are more important things to do, right? Okay. What's the purpose of shrinking? I gave us an example of shrinking. Shrinking simply means you go here. Hello? Do you have any question? Because I don't want to be rushing now.
No.
Okay. Now, if you want to shrink a database, it's quite easy. That one is the one we are not going to use script at. If you want to shrink a database, it's easy. Now, have a couple of times where someone wants to just quickly do something and shrink a database. You can use script, but it's not necessary. It's always good, as I said, you can shrink a database, but my best advice is to shrink the log file. Now, I will give you an example. Do you know that I showed us something now here? Do you see this Adventure Works 2014 is the main file? Did you see this log? Yeah, 198. Now, there are some things, sometimes your data may grow. Maybe, for example, this Adventure Works data, the main file grows to 1 gig. And then somehow you reduce the data. When you reduce the data, all right, maybe you have a company that you are working with and they give you a software and they say you can always reduce the size of the database. Probably before it was keeping 1 year worth of data, but now they will give you a script and say you can reduce it to 6 months worth of data. Every time it's growing more than 6 months, reduce to 6 months. Now the database will be getting small. If it's bigger, it's getting, but this log file most of the time doesn't get reduced. Even though this one is getting reduced every time, it's going to keep, because it's a log file, it's keeping record of everything, log and log. So sometimes it grows faster than this, and you might need to shrink your database. So most people, if you shrink database, sometimes it might affect the important files there. It might corrupt it. It's not always good. Let me put it that way. Some people do, but I don't fancy it, okay? So, but it's always good. The best advice, if we go out there, they will say shrink the log file. So you always shrink the log file. So if I want to shrink it, I'll just say, you first go to this database first. I want to shrink this database, okay? I want to shrink this database. I have it as Adventure Works now. So it's not Adventure Works 2014, so don't worry. I want to shrink it. But before I want to shrink it, I want to see if I shrink it, is it going to be useful? So I will first go to where it is. Which is it growing large enough? So I'll go to C. No, program files. Because you have to know if really it's working or it's not working. SQL, I'll select this. Data. So now, oh, sorry. I think it's in C data. What am I doing? He's here. Adventure Works. C data. So it's this one now. Okay. What am I doing? Hold on. C program files 2014. Yeah. Data. All right. So these are files now. Okay. 2 files. Okay. Don't worry about the name. This one is the real name already inside. Now, if you go here now, because you are not yet advanced, I don't want to show you anything. Now, if you go here, files, do you see the logical name? The logical name is what is there, but you are just changing the name of, so I can decide to change it to any name I want. Someone might say, oh, you want to change it, I can change it to any name. This Adventure Works, but it's still carrying the same logical name, which I used to restore it, which is here, okay? All right, so we are right now. So I'll right click it, but before you do shrink it, I advise people to go to properties, go to files. Is it files or options? I will select simple. Sometimes it is already in full, but first select simple. If you select simple, when you want to shrink it, it's not going to be giving you problem, and so on and so forth, especially if you want to script it. So I'll click OK. I'll now right click it. I'll go to task. I'll say shrink. So when I select shrink, I'll say files. I won't say database. If I say database, it's going to shrink everything. I want to select only the log file. So I'll say data log. Okay, I'll select log here, file type log. This is the log I want to shrink because probably it's growing too much. I can even give it how much I want it. I don't want it to be more than probably 19 megabyte because it's a log file. I don't really need it. So why is it growing? Did you see? So available free space, 97%. It means that it's really outgrown, isn't it? 97% free space for us to use. So I just click OK because it doesn't make sense, recording and everything. So that's how you shrink it. So if I go back to it now, the file size would have changed because I'm shrinking it. So you might need it sometimes. I would show you something. Now, it's still doing it. So it's still going to shrink it. So I'll still leave it for now until it finish it. So it's still doing it. Let me see. Did I do it well? Simple properties. Because I want to make sure everything works. Shrink files. Log. Yeah, we are right. Okay. Shrink file to 22 megabyte. So you should be able to shrink it. Now, if it doesn't shrink it more than that, it means that there's no space for us. Refresh. Thing can't shrink it more than that. That's why. But let's see if people face this problem, because this problem is common, and so you must know how to do that. Hold on. Jesus. It's what people face every time we face it. So that's what I'm saying. Shrink file, log or full database. So you always shrink sometime, but don't shrink. I'm looking for which one. So it's the same thing I said, yes. So it's the same thing. Log on Microsoft SQL, select properties, click option, simple, task, shrink, database. But I say you should shrink, if you want to shrink, don't always shrink database, shrink the log, unless you know what you want to shrink. You have to be careful. So which is okay. So that's it for shrinking. I think that's all for now for shrinking. Is that okay for us now for shrinking? Any question on that? No. Okay. The B part is what's important. All right. I will send the solution, so everybody don't worry. Now we want to demonstrate using SSMS and also script to do and to create database, to create table, to insert, to update, to delete. Can any one of us do that? We want to create a database. Let's call the database sample demo. Can we do that? What do you think I can do? I want to call the database a sample demo. Do you think we can do it? So let's do it. Can we?
Yes.
Okay. So what should I do? I want to create a database. What should I do? I'll do this, isn't it? Right click, new database, and I'll say sample demo. And that's it. Do you see now in the initial, do you see this is your main file? This is your logical name. Remember, you can call it any name you want in the beginning of your creation of database. It's always good to have it this way. Like you can change it to whatever name you want to call it. But if I call it sample demo, SQL will automatically give it a name, similar to your file database name. So we call it sample demo here. So that's that. You don't need to do anything here. Don't worry about all these things. Just leave everything the way it is, okay? All right. Okay. So that means I've created a database called sample demo. Now, I now said create database, create table. I want to create a table. So what can I do now? If I've already created a sample demo, what can I do now? Who can tell me? What can I do?
Well, create a table.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay. So we're going to right click and say, what do you think? We right click on database, or we right click on the table, we say new table.
Yes, you can do that. Yes. You can create on the click on the table and say
Exactly.
table.
So now the next thing we're going to do now is that we're going to create a table called persons.
Okay.
But before we do that, it's not giving us the table name. We want to create the column name first. So I'll give it the column name now. All right. So I'll give it ID. What type of data type? We can call it integer, probably.
Integer.
Yes, that's nice one. And then which one? Integer. And then not null.
Yeah.
It means that it will not be empty. That's what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Then I want it to be primary key. So what will I do now? If I want it to be primary key,
you assign the primary key into that field.
How? Okay. So what can we do it? I want to help also because I've already created ID. So we are still going there. Allow news. If I don't allow news, does it automatically means primary key or we still need to assign it?
Okay. No, a primary key cannot be null. Can it? No.
Did you see primary key now? No.
No.
Right. Okay. Let's continue. Now, person ID. We do that. Now we are manually creating this. We can use script to do that, but we are going to use person ID to be integer as well. And I have to use this so that it's going to be flow with our lesson as well. So I can allow new there, probably person ID. So I can say new there. I can put last name here. I can say that one can be Vaka or something like that. Do you understand what this means?
Yes.
It means,
yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay. Then address. Oh, first name, sorry. And then we select Vaka as well. If we don't understand, let me know, please. Anyone. Then address. I'll put address there.
The varchar just means the case characters. So
Yeah, exactly. Where is Vaka? I thought I have it before. Okay, I've seen it. So it means 50 characters, yeah? 50, but I can make this one 255 probably if address is so I can change the numbers here if I want to. City as well. And then city is back as well. And then age. What do you think age should be?
should be num or int, sorry.
Yeah, it should be int, yes. Integer. Okay. So now we're done. So now I can create the table now. I can just say now, I'm done. So if I close it now, if I do this, I'll say yes. So I'll give it a name now. So let me call the table name persons, okay? Okay. So that means I have what we call persons table now. Here, DBO persons, okay? On this sample demo. So we have this. Suppose I want to create another table like this. I can create it. So what I can do with script is that because I have the code here, I don't want us to spend long time typing as well. Hello?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I was
Yeah.
having an issue with my headphone.
Okay.
Cheers.
Okay. All right. So now I say use master, create table, sample demo, use sample demo. Now, if I've told you this before, I think I need to tell you now. You know, there was a time we have to right click and say new query.
Yes.
Sometimes you can say, we don't even need this. Let me remove it. Why did I put there? Now, sometimes you can right click it and say new query. It will query it. Sometimes, if you don't have time to do that, you can say use sample demo. The use sample demo means that you are connecting to this database. Or for example, this master is here. You can remove and say, I'm querying. You can select this one. Say, I'm querying sample demo. I'll select it. So you see something changing here, that this thing is connected to sample demo. Okay. Suppose I'm in HR now, database. And even though the query window is connected to HR, I can say use sample demo to do what I'm doing in this window. Because now I'm saying connect to sample demo, even though it's not changing here. Okay. So in this case, I'm going to say use sample demo. It's going to be speaking to this database. Okay. Now I will tell you what will happen now. If I say create persons one, because I've already created one, so that it won't say duplicate. So if I say create table persons, it's going to create the same thing. Sorry, I didn't put comma here. So there's supposed to be comma there. So if I do this now, it's done now, isn't it? So do we understand that it's the same thing? What we did now is the same thing, but I just did, yeah. So if you refresh this now, if I refresh this and I go to table, it's there now. Now, suppose I remove this use sample demo, okay? And remember, and now this one is already HR. I didn't use, you will see what will happen now. If I query it now, execute. Now, it's not going to create this in here. It's not going to create what? The person's one table here. It's going to go and create it in what? In use tables. Do you see it now? TPO persons one. All right. So you have to be careful what you are doing, what you are trying to query, and so on and so forth, just to be aware of it. So 3 ways to do that. You can, if you want to query something, you can right click this new query, or you can say use whatsoever database. In this case, we say use sample demo, or you can come here and select the database you want to query. Is that okay? So do we understand that part? Do we understand it? Anyone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's continue. Now you can always edit the table manually. So suppose I want to edit this now, I can do this. Right click. What do you think I will do? I'll click design. So because this is design is the source of everything. So I can right click it and say set primary key. Okay, that's what I was trying to ask you. All right. So I can say set it as primary key and then it's set as primary key. Did I tell you the difference between primary key and foreign key before? Do you want to understand the difference or?
I was even going to ask you a question on that because you know, when you said you want to assign a primary key to that, a lot of us don't really understand you know what primary key is.
Okay.
You know, some people might not understand, but I think foreign key is when you have a table that's got 2 primary keys or something.
Yeah, you are close to it. So foreign key, for example, now you have table A. Table A already has a primary key. You have table B. Table B has a primary key. However, table B, the primary key, the column of primary, the column that is primary key in table B find itself in primary in table A. So that will become a foreign key. So if you are making a reference to it, is going to become a what? A foreign key. Do you understand now? So if I do this now, I'll do something now. Look at this now. If I do this now, set as my key. No, sorry. Sorry. This one is the primary key. Let's just say if I now go here, yeah, persons now. Design. If I do this, so if I go here, I want to see if it's going to, because there's no relationship, so I want to see if it's going to allow foreign key here. But you can design as foreign key. If I do this set as, is it relationships? Yeah. But anyway, primary key and foreign key simply means that foreign key is when you have another primary key in another table. All right. That's what primary key is. Okay. And that's what foreign key is. So primary key always is not null. It's header. So for example, now if I do this as primary key, I can say always increment. In other words, I can set this one. If I select this ID now, I can say always increment. It means that anytime data is entered, it's going to increment it. So if you are a student, if you are a student that came to, that come to enroll in a school, if I enter your details into the database, I don't need to put an ID number there. It's going to assign it automatically. That's what we call primary key. So it's going to be unique on its own, unique primary key. All right. Yes, exactly. Unique identifier. That's where it is. All right. So that's primary key. So that's how we define primary key. You right click and say set as primary key and so on and so forth. Is that okay now? Do we get it? All right. So let me just remove this. No. So let me set this back as primary key. I think it's primary key. So so we are all done with this now. So now the next one is we have created table. We need to insert. So how do we insert? Since we have already done that, we want to insert something into this DB persons. Let's insert something to DB persons one. So let's insert something. I want to insert something. What do you think I would do? I will right click it. I'll just say edit. Okay. Edit top. Right. And I'll start writing something on it. Now, if I try to do this, look at what it will say. The cell has changed. The change has not been committed to database. The original data is null. It's supposed not to put. Is it primary key? Let me even check. Yes, a primary key. Now, everything is unique. If I say 2 here, what happened? Okay, let's put everything here. Woo! Let's continue first. Let's start with here. Person ID. That's why I don't like. I've overruled it now. I'm in big trouble. Let me close it. Yes, I've typed a value now. 1. Okay. So everything is unique on its own now. It's saying you are not typed what is unique because, so if I type 2 now, that's the primary key. Okay. So it's going to be giving error until I type what is right. Okay. So 1, 2, so person ID is not a primary key, so I can type 2, 2, it won't give error. You understand what I'm trying to say? So normally person ID should be unique as well. Last name, I can say Michael. I can say Michael, Jenny, and then I can put address, blah, 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 blah. I'm just putting this here. Don't worry about that one for now because age, 23, if really I'm 23. And then 1, 3, null. I can decide to say this one are null because it allowed null and so on and so forth. So then I can close it. So it's saved already. So if I want to query it now, can I query it? Yes. I'm connected to HR, isn't it? But I'm using sample demo. So what I'll do is I'll just say use. I'm just letting us to get used to it rather than right clicking it and say new query. I say use sample demo. It's helping you to complete it. Select from persons. Is it persons? I forgot to know. Which one do we use now? Select from DB. It's supposed to invalid objects. Ah. Coming. I want to see why it's not doing that. So let me use, I'm not sure which one we used. We entered data into, oh, sorry, we entered data into here. Persons one. We entered data into that one, persons one, okay? So that is the data we put in now. And you could see that it was rearranged. We have 2, 1 and everything, but it rearranged it was for us as well. So that's how to enter. So if I want to use script, it's the same thing. I can use script now and say insert to script. The reason why people use script sometimes is faster than using, you understand? I can say insert to person's last name, first name. Now notice that I didn't put ID here. Why? Because it's a primary key. If I put ID here, it's going to give me error. If I say 1, see what's going to happen. No, it's not even this one. I made a mistake there. 1 insert into ID, yes. What's mark as ID? Don't worry. Let me see this one. Persons one. So it's going to give error. Let me see. Insert into persons. On close quotation mark after the character string. Which one is on close quotation mark? Stavanger. ID is integer. Oh, I've not removed ID. Last name, first name, address, city, age. City, yes. 25. Yeah, we are correct. So why is it? I'm just trying to see the problem here. And that's the problem you face sometimes. I ran it the last time, it was working. On close quotation mark after the character string. On close, where is it? Trying to look for it. Last name, first name. We are right. Oh, person ID is not a primary key. Sorry, I didn't put person ID there. Because person ID is there as well. Because person ID is not a primary key, so it's not complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have to put person ID there because it's not a primary key, so I can put 1 there. It's an integer, so I'm still okay. Hopefully it's going to work this time. Don't give me anything. Again, person ID, last name. So what do you think the problem is? We've noted that person ID is there. Ski gain. Person ID, let me check. Integer, varchar, yes. Address, varchar, yes. City, age. We are right. Integer, omega, last name, Michael. Yes, this one. Okay. Let me try business one. I want to see what is happening. I don't know where this problem is coming from. I'm surprised. Insert into persons one. All right. And this is very critical. This is critical because we can't do without this. Insert into, let me write the script myself. In script, I've written it already anyway. Last name. Incorrect syntax near scanning. What's the incorrect syntax near scanning? I don't need to quote anything. That's the problem I'm having now. Do I need to quote anything? No, I need to quote everything. Something's wrong somewhere, which I don't know why. I'm surprised. Insert into. And it's even giving me points. Did I make a mistake marking one, persons one? Okay. Okay. Insert into values one, last name, quotes, then first name. Put quote here, comma. Person ID, yeah, what is next one? Address. I just want to see why it's giving that, but it's not giving me error now when I'm quoting everything. What's the next one? 1, 2, 3, 4. City. Then the last one is age. 23. Yeah, it should work now. Okay, at least almost done. Cannot insert value into the column ID. Okay, let me see. Insert value null into the column ID. Did I put null there? Oh, true said. Sorry, guys. This ID is talking about Control Y, Control Y. Okay, perfect now. Okay, execute. Cannot insert the value null into column ID.
Okay.
Table. So what do you think is allowed?
So what's column ID? Where is that?
Okay, column ID is here, primary key, not null. I don't allow null there.
Yeah,
Not null. It should not be empty.
It's not. Yeah, it shouldn't be empty. So what have we got there?
So we have person ID here. 1, 2,
ID,
3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So which is complete. So we can't put, because it's a primary key, we don't put ID there. So if we go back, let's say persons. Is it persons here? Hold on. Let me use person one. Still the same thing. Why is saying that? That's strange. Let me try refresh. Okay, right. Let's go to keys. It's columns. Let's click on tables, design. Let me select this. So which is very interesting. Person's ID, which is okay. No. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's correct. I don't know why it's giving error. I think we have to move on that one. Column does not allow news. Insert fails. Does not allow news. So I didn't even put nude there anyway. So if I put 1 there, let me see. ID. So there are more columns in this. Okay. Let me put 1 there.
Can we see the table itself?
Yeah, the table is here. If you say select, let's say from persons 1. So let's see. Oh, so that's the table here.
Okay. Can we see the design view?
Oh, maybe I didn't even type it well. Person ID, last name. Oh, the design view. Want to see the design view? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So what do we have?
We have integer.
So you just have okay. Okay.
So what do you think? So if we remove the primary key, it's going to work, but I don't think.
Yeah, because that's not. You think well.
No, I want to test it now. Hold on. Let me save it.
But what I'm thinking is, Michael. Okay, you're gone now.
Yeah, I want to just save it and see if it's going to work. So it's working now. It doesn't give errors. So it's not going to work again now. So 1 row is affected now. You know why? Because I removed the primary, but there's something we still need to fix anyway.
Yeah,
because
but what I'm saying is, when you look at the design view, you only ticked off the very top one, right?
Which one did I tick off? Because I need to know. I just
the which is the ID or what's that? The very first line. That one you ticked it. The allow null you ticked it off, isn't it? And the rest are ticked.
Okay.
So
yeah, it doesn't matter. But let's see, because if you set it as primary key, it's going to remove it automatically. So it doesn't matter. So if I remove the primary key now, if I do it, it simply means that it is compulsory that place is filled. The computer is going to fill for you.
Okay.
So if I do this now, set primary key, well, don't worry, it's just a minor issue. I don't know, computer might be funny.
Okay.
But really, primary key should be there to continue what we're doing. But don't worry, I'll fix it in our next, because we are not going to finish the lecture anyway. So we're going to look at the create table. We have done that. Insert, we did it now with script. Update. Now, it's very important to know how to do updates. Suppose we inserted this. Suppose we insert this, okay, on our PC now. Suppose we do this now. We inserted this one, okay. Now, notice what I'm going to do now. I insert this. Okay, let's say I insert 12:4 because we don't have primary key again. So for a lecture for us now. So let me put, oh, sorry. ID, person ID, okay. And then suppose our EDI 45, okay. Suppose I inserted it now. What have I done? Omega, Michael, yes. This is the place I'm having problem. I don't know why it's giving problem here. I have to type it all over again. I'm quoting it. It's not even allowing me to quote it. Strange. Michael, okay, don't worry. Omega Michael address. It's not even allowing me values. Something's wrong somewhere with this copy and paste. It's causing values. Do you sometimes come across something like this that is annoying, isn't it? Strange. Last name. I'll call it. As I said, any text or character, you need something like quotes. this thing has changed my lesson completely. Okay. And then I have to type it. Imagine.
So this one on Microsoft Access, which one is easier? I think I find that one easier.
Which one?
This this program we're using.
Yeah,
SQL Server.
Yeah, you can use that, but because we are showing both ways for people, that's why I have to do this. But it's not necessary to do this. You can do that, man. But sometimes you come across when you need to use script. Trust me. But when you are used to it already, you'll be fine. You understand what I'm trying to say? So I can put Lagos. Don't mind me. I put Lagos there. Already, yes, city, and then age. And put 34 there. Okay. I hope it's not going to give another error. Okay, that's fine. Now, because we want to do updates, I can now say update persons. I can say update persons. So I'm going to change this thing now. Update persons. I will now say update persons. Set last name. So I can say set last name as Smithfield. Where ID is 12. Sorry about it. It might change in the, and first name is what? Is let me change it to last name. I think last name is better because now last name is more pronounced. Is my name there, isn't it? Update in a year. Don't worry about. So it's going to update. So if I do this now, I'm just running this, you can select this alone and run it rather than running everything, because if I try to run this again, it's going to say duplicate, but you can select this and say execute. See what happened. Incorrect syntax near war. Oh, sorry, I think it's my fault. I'm using the wrong single quote. That was why. I now see the reason. The wrong single quote. Say 0 affected. Why? Do we set the last name? Set last name, yes. City, where ID is 12 and last name equal to. So let's see if we are right. Because I want to, now when you are using update, as I said, you have to be careful. Our ID is 12 and last name is.
Adetinoye.
Oh, Ade, sorry. It should be Ade. So that's why it's not affected, because we want to change. Suppose you have so many records and you want to change something. If you do this update person and set, it's going to change everything that has everything in your system. So when you are using update, you have to use where to know where you want to do something. Okay. So if I do this now, oh, sorry, update persons, then one row is affected. So now if I do select from persons now, it's going to say Smithfield. You understand what I'm trying to say now? It has put the new values there. All right. So that's the essence of using updates. But when you are using updates, please use where. If I have so many records, for example, okay, let's do it now anyway, because it's a dump database. So if I'll show you something now. Suppose, now let's do another one. 112. Execute. I've inserted another one. Now see what I will do now. Let me have another one. Now I want to insert as many as possible. Yeah. And I'll show you something. Now select from persons. If I do this, so just to be aware of when you are using, do you see a lot of this thing? Don't worry about the duplicate for now. Now I have so many things. Now I want to now use the updates. I don't use where. I just want to use, so I don't want to use where. If I execute it, 15 rows affected. Even though I was looking for one thing, I forgot to use where. You see what is happening. So if I say select from persons. See what happened? It has changed everything. Why? So you have to be careful. The same thing with when you are using delete as well. So if I say delete, I can say delete something. So I can say, so we are going to delete now. If I say delete from, so if I do this now, Control Z, I can say delete from persons. That's the command. Delete from persons. Where? So this case, I'll say where ID is one and this thing, and so on and so forth. So if I do that, let me use the right code. Sorry, I think this is the code I use. I need to change all the code now in my system, because let me even do it now, because this file I cannot give you something that is wrong in this solution here. I'm surprised. Sorry, I want to change the document. I don't want to forget. It's giving me, I didn't know that we have code that is very annoying this way now. Is this one? Yeah. Okay. Hold on, my brother, please. So I want to copy this and replace it in the solution I want to give to you guys, because I have the solution here, but I want to replace that code. It's really not good at all. Replace all. That's replaced one. It's only one that I found in my document. I don't know why it's okay. So if I run it now, and first name equal to Michael, delete from persons one, and where first name is equal to
Michael.
No, let's see, equal to where ID is 12. Let's just use where ID is 12 for now.
Okay.
It's enough. It's going to delete this. One row is affected because I know one ID is 12 there, okay? All right. So now, if I now said delete from, I didn't use where. It's going to delete everything that is there because so delete and update, we have to be careful when using it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. That's it for now. Any question? This one take us a long time. Oh, hey, Jesus. Now, these are the next one. This one is quite straightforward, which we'll look at. If we have any question, do you now understand? Are you confident that you can go to SQL Studio and restore database and backup database, at least query something and, create a table yourself? Do you think you can do that? Because I think it's simple.
It's continuous learning. We just have to go back and keep learning and trying it and trying it.
Okay. All right. Okay. So these are the next one that we're going to do. So because I'm making it simple by simple and simple and simple. So this is the third one, part B. It's all about understanding. So it's all about explanation. So there's nothing to do there. What is the difference between this and this? How to view connections in SQL and so on and so forth. And then we start going through, administration part. So part B is mainly administration. So you won't see coding much there. So I think I have the solution here. Anyway, I have not sent the solution to people yet. Because if I send the solution now, people might not say they will look at it with the video. That's why I didn't send the solution.
Okay.
And then, so this is part B. So it's all theories. It's something explanation. And so on and so forth. So if you have any questions, let me know. Is there any question? No?
Not from me. I don't know if anyone has any question.
Do anyone has watched the Tableau video? Anyone? No, I know some people have been watching. They are sending me some stuff they are doing, but have you started?
I haven't. I haven't.
Okay. You have to, because what I will do, I think you understand. I sent an audio message. Yes. What I'll be doing is I'm going to be going through the video myself. I'll try to do the same thing. Post it.
You said that.
Challenge, yes, and then before we do project on site, because there's nothing much to explain in Tableau than to do it and practice it.
I practice it, yeah.
Yeah. Are you using 2 monitors as well? Because I asked people as well. Some people are not using.
Well, I have to.
Which is good because it's very good. It helps
They
a
are not
lot.
connected though.
They are not. No, are you talking about 2 laptops or 2?
2 different. Yeah, well, I have one Mac and one laptop.
No, I am talking about you are using a laptop and you have a monitor as well, and then you connect them together.
Together, no. Maybe
Okay.
I can do that. I have another laptop though, but
Okay.
I have to get like I think it's a cable or something.